Hello, beautiful viewers. You're welcome to the news. I am Florence Mbam. The headlines. Governor Francis Nwifuru embarks on extensive project inspection in some parts of the state. Federal Ministry of Education dismisses reports on scrapping of junior and senior secondary schools. International Criminal Court condemns U.S. sanctions on officials. The news in details. In a bold move to reaffirm his commitment to quality governance and the delivery of democracy dividends, Governor Francis Nwifuru has embarked on an extensive project inspection tour in some parts of the state to ensure that they meet the expected standard and are completed on time. Government House correspondent Osondu Nguta was there.
The project inspection highlights Governor Nwifuru's dedication to ensuring that the benefits of democracy reached every citizen. During the inspection, Governor Nwifuru visited several ongoing project sites, including Ezaufu Obudechi Road, Obudechi Ijogo Road, staff quarters in Ebonyi State University of ICT, Science and Technology, Oferekbe Agbaja, all in Ije local government area. The projects, which have reached varying degrees of completion, received governor's nod, indicating that they are in line with the project specification and, as well, highlighted positive impact those projects would have on local communities. The governor's commitment to project oversight and community engagement reaffirms his administration's resolve to transform the state through effective governance. Osondo Nguta, Salt TV News.
Ebonyi State Government has approved the release of over 300 million naira for the start-up kits for 100 agro-based trainee graduates of the state. The Commissioner for Information and State Orientation, Mr. Jude Okpo, stated this during a joint inter-ministerial press briefing at ESCO Chambers of Chudo Centenary City at Abakaliki on outcome of this week's State Executive Council meeting. Osondu Nguta completes the report.
Mr. Okpo, who emphasized that the trainer pack, worth 3 million naira for each of the 100 graduates, was to empower them to utilize their skills effectively within the agricultural sector. The initiative, he said, was expected to bolster local agriculture and entrepreneurship, contributing to the overall economic growth of the state.
Recall that the first set of people that attend that training were empowered with a sum of 3 million naira each. For the second tranche of 100 graduates, will also receive the same sort of empowerment package of 3 million naira each to commence agricultural-based activities in the areas of their interest.
In recognition of the critical need for infrastructural improvement, the Commissioner for Works, Mr. Lebechi Mbam, and his infrastructure and concession counterpart, Mr. Obasi Abara, announced ESCO approval for the construction of internal roads and bridges, which would not only enhance accessibility and connectivity, but also facilitate economic activities and growth within the state and even beyond. The roads approved for construction are 16.7 km Randa Mbamiri Road, 13.5 km road within Agbaja community in Izi local government area, 5.123 km road at Amezi, and 4.123 km road in Izo housing estate in Ishelu local government area, Akadoro Alubeleke Bridge in Ezanot local government area, and 3 span bridges at Ameke Ishago in Ivo local government area.
Approved that the contract for Okofia Usokara Amego Road in Ezasa local government area be awarded. Council also approved the construction of Omaku Bridge at Afibu. Recalling that the bridge from Ubodo, the headquarters of the local government, to Odomoke collapsed sometime in the past. Council approved that 2-span bridge be constructed.
Commissioners for Education, Professor Paul Nwobasha, and that of Tertiary Education, Professor Amari Omaka, disclosed ESCO's approval in the educational sector, especially establishment of 12 new faculties across universities in the state, and a state-of-art laboratory at Ngofe Agbaja, which will be designed to accommodate all sciences. According to him, these facilities would provide students and researchers with advanced resources necessary for scientific and innovations, reinforcing the state's commitment to educational excellence.
One will be at the CAS campus of the Ebonyi State University. That's a signature project of the Faculty of Law, which is after the heart of our dear governor, who have promised to give his alma mater a very brand new state-of-the-art Faculty of Law complex. And as it were, that complex is being replicated also at the permanent site, the main campus of Ebonyi State University, where we're going to have a brand new Faculty of Education Technical at Ebonyi State University. That is another signature project that is coming up, and the contract has been awarded and work is starting on Monday in all the project sites.
ESCO decision to introduce and build very big faculty building that will house industrial education in Ebonyi State University. Today, our youths and young ones are being encouraged to get out of the street. The only way to get them out of the street is to give them skills and handiwork that will allow them to earn their own living and be self-reliant.
The Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Dr. Ben Odo, on his part, noted ESCO's decision to accept the Federal High Court ruling sitting in Abakaliki against the state, nullifying the Ebonyi State Cybercrime Law for violating some sections of 1999 Constitution as amended, following an action instituted by one Mr. Paul Itu.
Model law called the Cybercrime Prohibition and Prevention Act of 2015, which is the national law that regulates cybercrime legal regime. But the state government domesticated it with variations, and the Federal High Court now declared that domestication with variation unconstitutional, illegal, null and void. So government have accepted the judgment of the Federal High Court, and we are not appealing, and the way out is that we will be prosecuting cybercrime offenders under the model law and no longer under the state law.
He noted that the state government, who have high regard and respect for the rule of law, would always obey judgment of the court to the letter. Osando Nguta, Salt TV News.
The prevalent rate of female genital mutilation has dropped by 54% in Ebonyi State. The wife of the governor, Mrs. Uzomaka Nwifiru, stated this during a road walk to commemorate the 2025 International Day of Zero Tolerance for Female Genital Mutilation and Cutting, organized by her pet project, Beryl, Ministry of Women Affairs, and the development partners. Government House correspondent Pauline Nwanerienwe has more.
February 6 every year is recognized as the International Day of Zero Tolerance for Female Genital Mutilation and Cutting. During the road walk to commemorate the day, the wife of the governor, Mrs. Uzamaka Nwifiru, represented by the team lead, Bewo, Mrs. Nkeche Chagu, said the cultural menace had reduced drastically in the state. The wife of the governor, while speaking on the theme, stepping up the pace, strengthening alliances, and building movements to end FGM, called traditional rulers, stakeholders, and birth attendants to work collectively to achieve zero tolerance for female genital mutilation.
Remember, this is deeply cultural, and it takes a mindset to change the culture of the people. FGM is female genital mutilation. It used to be female genital cutting, but that cutting is so derogatory, so it was changed to mutilation, meaning scattering that whole area. The damage it has done, that woman's genital that was beautifully created by God, how can you come and use razor or scissors and mutilate it, all in the name of culture?
The Commissioner for Women Affairs and Social Development, Mrs. Felicia Nwamkuma, represented by her head of department, Mrs. Roslyn Oje, said that the joint alliance with community and religious leaders would assist in the reduction of the female genital mutilation.
We have almost even more than 130 stakeholders in Ebonyi State or network that are joining with the Ministry of Women Affairs to fight this battle of FGM in Ebonyi State. If all the network, the NGOs that are working in Ebonyi State come out today, here will not contain us. There are a lot of people who have joined to make sure FGM is a thing of the past in Ebonyi State.
UNFPA representative Kosarachi Nwite and the coordinator Gender-Based Violence Task Force Mrs. Fedvin Wancho promised their commitment to ensure its continuous decline as a severe violation of human rights affecting women and girls.
What we did as per the punishment section of that law in 2018 was a child's play. The female woman, after being amended, right is level of making sure
offenders of this ill-treated cultural menace have been advised to desist to avoid being trapped by the State Violence Against Persons Prohibition Law. Pauline Nwanerienwe, Salt TV News.
The construction of broad shelters at the strategic streets within the capital city aim to provide shelter for residents while waiting for either vehicle, motorcycle to take them to their various destinations. Salt TV reporter Charles Ole Jr., who went round the capital city to ascertain the usage of the broad shelters by the residents and pedestrians, observed with dismay that street traders selling their goods beside some of the broad shelters have defaced the aesthetic beauty of the structure. The reports.
A cross-section of residents who spoke applauded Governor Francis Nwifuru for showcasing enormous administrative leadership quality by improving the living standard of Ebonyans through the People's Charter of Needs program, including the construction of the board shelters as government initiative to beautify the city. Those who spoke, including Mr. Hyacinth Eze, Mr. Sunday Owale, and Mrs. Gladys Nwode, appreciated Governor Francis Nwifuru for constructing the board shelters which shade them from the sun and the rain while waiting for the vehicle, tricycle, and motorbike, and prayed God to continue to endow him with more wisdom in developing the state.
Very extremely good, because there is a very nice breeze here. My gratitude should go to the state government who built this thing 100%.
I'm very appreciative to our honorable governor, for this government. So I'm basically for how he does for this state. The God Almighty, the word him abundantly in Jesus' name.
I am very happy. So when I see this thing here, I was happy, and I'm still happy up till now, because here it's give us shelter. Anyone that is passing through by, would like to come and rest. So it is very good.
It is believed that the residents and users of the board shelters will use it for the purpose it was provided for rather than defacing them. Charles Ole Jr. for Salt TV News.
The State Commissioner for Education, Professor Paul Nwobashi, has called on teachers to disregard the proposed strike action and use all avenues of peaceful dialogue in resolving the arrears of unpaid salaries issue. Professor Paul Nwobashi made the appeal in a roundtable meeting with the Algon chairman and his team in his office at Centenary City, Abakaliki. Salt TV reporter Charles Ole Jr. covered the meeting and now reports.
The commissioner appealed to teachers in the state not to go on strike as government was looking into the allegation of outstanding salary arrears on them with the view to addressing the problem.
We have paid salaries. Any person, any staff that says he has not been paid should report. That's just EBBC. We're not owing anybody. We are doing verification. The only salaries that have not been paid is that of January, which we assure them that immediately the verification ends, maybe in a week's time, then everybody will get his or her salary.
In their various speeches, the Secretary to the Universal Basic Education Board, UBEB, Mr. Livinus Ezowa, the Agon Chairman, who is also the Council Chairman of Ebonyi Local Government Area, Prince Chinedu Uburu, and the Council Chairman of Izan North Local Government Area, Mr. Ogodo Ale, said that the allegation of outstanding salary arrears should be addressed through peaceful dialogue with documented evidences showing that some teachers were being owed salaries.
Let's discuss, let's know the problem. If truly they were not paid, let's know it, they were not paid. If they were paid, let's know they were paid. Let's really know the problem.
My advice to them is that they should, toe the path of peace. If there's any other thing they are not telling us, let them come up with it. But for someone to, come out and say that the verification exercise must not, happen, I think that person is a joker.
The issue is that people who are eating government money without working for it are fighting back. And that is the truth. So my advice is that the teachers should not join politics or to face their jobs. They are not the issue. We are not pursuing the teachers. We are not pursuing our workers. Our workers are our brothers, our dependents. We cannot punish them. We are looking for those who are eating government money without working for it.
They said the ongoing verification exercise would continue, adding that the verification exercise really exposed some illegalities in the system and urged them to stop any planned strike action that could disrupt the smooth academic session in the state. Charles Ole Jr. for Salt TV News.
Marketers at the Integrated Building Materials Market at Abakaliki have called on state government to come to their aid by providing internal road network, water, electricity, among others, to make the environment conducive for commercial activities. The marketers made their feelings known when EBBC crew visited the market to ascertain the cost of building materials and its effects on economic and financial strength in the society. The reports.
Over the years now, the cost of building materials has been soaring and raises great concern to both marketers and customers across the country. According to the President, Integrated Building Materials Market, Abakaliki Chief Fidelis Onwe, the high cost of fuel, which adversely affects transportation and delivery of materials, has brought hyperinflation in the country. He said that the building materials market, which attracts customers from far and wide, needs government attention in the areas of road, electricity, security, and banks. He thanked the state governor for his care to marketers in the state.
After the relocation from former building materials to the new building materials now, we have not been finding things easy. It's too difficult for us. The environment is not conducive. We don't have anything such as a good road, the environment, no water, no nothing to be boast of, but we are trying our best.
Some marketers, including Mr. Chukudera Onyiro and Mr. Peter Nwokoro, said they buy at exorbitant rate and sell the same way.
For our own, there's no additional charge or increment in our price, so we are selling a good price.
We are calling on the government to come and assist us start the roads and bring electricity, and sometimes we have poor network.
A customer who has a block industry in Abakaliki, Mr. Christian Okpa, said that the cost of building materials presently has affected his business negatively and called on government to initiate measures to reduce inflation in the country.
150,000, this morning 180,000. Man, a block one the same price can so things are not going well. Cement now is 10,000 naira instead of 8,000 something or 7,000 something. It's 10,000 naira. I bought it this morning. So things are going high, but we are not seeing the money.
The cost of both consumable and non-consumable goods in the nation needs proper economic policy by government to checkmate it in the interest of the common man. Charles Agada, Salt TV News.
Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back with more interesting stories. Do stay with us. Glad to know you're still there. Following skyrocketing increase of house rents in Ebonyi State by house owners, some residents of Abakaliki metropolis have bared their minds on the issue. EBBC crew, which went round the capital city, captured mixed reactions for tenants regarding the high cost of house rents in the state. The report.
Increment on house rent by both commercial and residential house owners has become unbearable for residents of the state and is not something to write home about considering the present economic realities in the country. Upon inquiry, it was observed that some landlords rent out 3-bedroom flats at 1,500,000 naira, 2-bedroom flat 900,000 naira, while 1-bedroom flat goes for 750,000 naira. It is on this backdrop that a resident at Opposite Street appealed to commercial and residential house owners to have a rethink and bring down their house rent to be affordable to average Ebonyi people. He also appealed to government to institute a committee that would interface with house owners in a bid to reducing house rent.
The cost of rents in Abakaliki capital city is so exorbitant that it is getting far beyond the ordinary Nigeria. It's getting far beyond a peasant farmer. It's getting far beyond the reach of an average Nigerian. At least a 2-bedroom flat goes for 400 times 500,000 naira. If you want to live in a 4 or 3-bedroom apartment with spacious conveniences, it goes around between 800 and 1 million naira. And looking at it, he discovered that an average Nigerian, especially civil servant, cannot afford such accommodation.
Another resident at Nkalike attributed increment on house rent to high cost of building materials, which was as a result of the economic downturn in the country.
The thing is that you will not blame the landlords. For me, it's not their fault. The cost of things, the cost of materials in the market is on the high side. Why? Because our money today has no value. For instance, now a bag of cement before was at least 2,000 plus, 3,000 on the high side. But today, a bag of cement is 10,000 plus. You will not blame the landlord. You understand? But they try at least to meet up according to how much they spend to do all those things. Before, Boline, let's start from Boline, 2x2. It was at least that time was about 150, highest 180. And now 2x2 is 800 naira. Check out the increase.
Further effort to interview more tenants on the house rent issue proved abortive as the furious tenants refused to speak to EBBC crew because of their experience in the hands of the landlords. For South TV News, I am Chidebere Nwori.
Away from Ebonyi State, the Ministry of Education on Friday clarified that the Minister of Education, Tunji Alausa, merely proposed the introduction of a 12-year basic education system. The ministry stated that reports of an immediate policy change on the matter were untrue. The report.
Several media outlets has suggested that a new policy aimed at scrapping the junior and senior secondary school system was already in effect. In a statement by the Director of Press at the Federal Ministry of Education, Folashade Boriowo, the ministry emphasized that the National Council on Education would review the proposal before any final decision is made. At the Extraordinary National Council on Education meeting held on 6 February 2025 in Abuja, the Honorable Minister of Education, Dr. Maruf Olatunji Alausa, presented a proposal for discussion, not an immediate policy change. The proposal seeks to transit to 12 years of compulsory education while retaining the current 6334 structure. To ensure a well-informed decision, the final decision on whether to adapt this reform will be made at the National Council on Education meeting in October 2025. The ministry urges the public to disregard false claims that GSS and the SSS have been scrapped. The federal government remains committed to policies that enhance the quality of education while aligning with global best practices.
The House of Representatives has expressed its readiness to assist the President in delivering the dividends of democracy to Nigerians. Speaking with reporters in Abuja, Deputy Spokesman of the House, Philip Agbesi, says as part of the resolve of the Parliament, it will diligently study the budget as presented by the President for 2025, and including the recent increase. The report.
Agbesi justified the President's request for many upward review of the budget from 49 trillion naira to 54 trillion naira, saying the development is driven by additional revenue from key government agencies. He said the House of Representatives welcomes the President's proposal to revise the 2025 budget, which seeks to increase the allocation to 54 trillion naira. This bold move, driven by additional revenue from key government agencies, demonstrates the administration's commitment to revitalizing the economy and improving the lives of Nigerians. As we delve into the details of the proposal, we are particularly encouraged by the focus on strategic sectors such as agriculture, which will receive a significant boost through the injection of funds into the Bank of Agriculture. This initiative has the potential to empower our farmers, stimulate rural development, and enhance food security. The reps also noted the proposal's emphasis on enhancing national security, particularly the construction of barracks for our troops.
And from across borders, Malawi's President Lazarus Chakwera has ordered the military to begin preparing to withdraw from their peacekeeping mission in the volatile Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. The Malawian troops are part of the Southern African Regional Bloc's military mission deployed to DR Congo to help tackle armed groups. The report.
At least 20 peacekeepers, including 14 South Africans and 3 Malawians, were killed as the M23 rebels captured the key city of Goma, the capital of North Kivu province, last week. President Chakwera said on Wednesday that his decision was meant to honor the declaration of a ceasefire by the parties, even though the fighting is continuing. In a statement read on state TV on Wednesday evening, he said the withdrawal of troops would pave the way for their planned negotiations towards a lasting peace. Malawi Information Minister Moses Kunkuyu told the press that the planned withdrawal was being made in good faith. He said a meeting by Southern African leaders last week in Tanzania on the sidelines of the Africa Energy Summit has passed a resolution to call for a ceasefire from all parties in the conflict just to pave way for peaceful negotiations. It is pursuant to that agreement that the President of Malawi has seen it fit to contribute to the peace-building effort by withdrawing troops from the region so that there is that peaceful negotiation.
The International Criminal Court, ICC, has vowed to continue its judicial work after U.S. President Donald Trump signed an order to impose sanctions on its staff. The ICC says it stands firmly by its personnel and the order seeks to harm its independent and impartial work. The report.
Trump's order accuses it of illegitimate and baseless actions after the International Criminal Court issued an arrest warrant for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu over alleged war crimes in Gaza, which Israel denies. The ICC also issued a warrant for a Hamas commander. The ICC is a global court, although the United States and Israel are not members. With the power to bring prosecutions for genocide, crimes against humanity and war crimes. In his statement, the ICC condemns the issuance by the US of an executive order seeking to impose sanctions on its officials and harm its independent and impartial judicial work.
To end the news, the recap. In a bold move to reaffirm his commitment to quality governance and the delivery of democracy dividends, Governor Francis Nwifuru has embarked on an extensive project inspection tour in some parts of the state to ensure that they meet the expected standard and are completed on time. The Federal Ministry of Education on Friday clarified that the Minister of Education, Tunji Alausa, merely proposed the introduction of a 12-year basic education system. The International Criminal Court, ICC, vowed to continue its judicial work after U.S. President Donald Trump signed an order to impose sanctions on its staff. And that's the news. My name is Florence Bam. Thanks for watching.